Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Joliet City Council pre-meet for June 14th, 2021. The Honorable Mayor Robert Odekirk is presiding. Krista, can you do the roll call for us?
Sure, Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug. Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin. Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is a presentation, an Arts Commission update by Eric Deshawn Doris.
Good evening.
Hi.
Thank you all so much for having me on your agenda this evening. And I really enjoyed having conversations with some of you leading up to today's meeting. So this might be a recap for some. It might be new information for others, and I hope I answered some of the questions that came up during our one-on-ones. I have a clicker. All right, just a little recap about the Joliet Arts Commission. The last time I was before you was in October of 19, which was during a pandemic. So I'm glad that we all made it to the other side, and also taking a time to reflect and remember those that did not. Our mission statement is that the Joliet Arts Commission builds awareness and strengthens the arts for the economic and cultural enrichment for the greater Joliet area. And our vision statement is to build bridges between the arts and the community. Here's a list of all the commissioners who you appointed back in July of 19. It includes all of the arts and cultural institutions here in the city, as well as the City Center Partnership, many of our school districts and schools, at-large members, as well as some community-based organizations. It is a great group of folks, and we have been meeting and planning for almost 2 years now. We are Joliet's local arts agency. That is a state of Illinois designation by the Illinois Arts Council agency. We are Joliet's first local arts agency with this designation, part of a statewide network of agencies all the way from Rockford down to East St. Louis, from the Quad Cities to Effingham, to wherever you want to go. Our commission goals, these are our overarching long-term goals, are to promote the arts, to support local arts endeavors, to connect the arts in the community, as well as to curate identity through the arts. This year, we presented goals to you back in October for 2021, and the first priority that you had when you commissioned us was to address existing public art. As you know, the public art here in the city is from the 90s and early 2000s. It was an award-winning, very notable and distinguishable public art program by the Friends and Communities of Public Art, and it has gone into deterioration. So we are looking to talk with you further about next steps for our public art program here in the city. Other things that we're going to be doing this year is looking at other funding opportunities. We just applied for our first Illinois Arts Council General Operating Service Grant. It is only offered to local arts agencies. We then we're going to develop a website and social media presence for the arts in Joliet. That's being done through Lorinda Carmine, who is now the cultural arts manager, something like that. So thank you for retaining her position during that transition with By Park during the pandemic. Two other programs that we have not started yet is the traveling gallery program, and then also a visiting artist program, which we tried to launch online during the pandemic. It had some mixed results, so we look forward to doing that in person as we move forward with public art. I just want to give a timeline. I know it's been almost 2 years, and you're probably wondering, what the heck has Eric been doing? So here's what we've been up to. We were created in July, and then, in December, we created our missions and goals, and then the pandemic hit. During the pandemic, we were actually featured in the national magazine by Americans for the Arts as one of the local arts agencies to watch across the country. We went into our state of emergency. We were unable to meet. By July, we met again, and then we created our subcommittees. We went into subcommittee work, and then presented to the city council in October. We did not meet during the surge that happened last fall, and so we did not meet in November or December, and we reconvened in January. We went back into subcommittee work, writing grants for the Illinois Arts Council, as well as one of our subcommittees addressing the public art. We went through a period of public comment from March to April, And then in April, we launched a pilot program with 5 new commissions for public art here in the city. And that was done in partnership with the City Center Partnership, who is funding the program and will be working with us to fundraise and raffle off those pieces of art so that we can fund our public art program here in the city. We plan to have a draft of recommendations for you this summer. You'll get those in your updates for this year. And then in September, you'll have a raffle of the public art that was created this year at the Tunes and Brews on 66. So that's all we have planned so far. Just a couple little projects, guys. All right, so what we're talking about is a unique opportunity that showed up during the pandemic. I understand that we showed up in October and we said, we want to do this and we're not going to ask for any money. That was not a lie. Well, the situation has changed. There is a unique opportunity through the American Rescue Plans Act to invest in our public art program, and I'll show you the reasons why. Arts, culture, tourism, travel, and hospitality are a priority in the U.S. Treasury guidance. We are asking for $150,000 per year for the next 4 years to help fund the relief, recovery, and resilience of Joliet's creative sector. We would do this in 6 buckets. The first one is to address existing public art, which is what you have asked us to do. We would also simultaneously create new public art commissions. So these are places where we don't have to wait. We have some walls, we have some artists, we can put people to work. We're gonna invest in local artists, which is something that we need to do to attract and maintain artists in our community. We're going to work on workforce development programs with local colleges and universities, developing new artists as they train at Lewis University, at University of St. Francis, at Joliet Junior College. We're going to be working with local school districts in arts education, both in school and out of school time. That would be classes in your regular art class during the day. It could also be working with a community-based organization doing a summer arts program, a summer mural program, a summer sculpture program. And then finally, we're going to engage the community throughout our public arts programming. This would include things like ribbon cuttings, public comment on new murals and public art, collaborations with other community-based organizations as we begin to think about what those designs are going to be. So why would you make this investment here? I know you have lots of things that are going on in the city, but let me tell you that in the U.S. Treasury guidance, we are a priority industry. It says that the Treasury encourages recipients to provide assistance to households, businesses, and nonprofits and communities that are most disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. The guidance also states that addressing the systemic public health and economic challenges that may have contributed to more severe impacts of the pandemic among low-income communities and people of color are a priority. It also says that when considering providing aid to industries other than tourism, travel, and hospitality, recipients should consider the extent of the economic impact as compared to tourism, travel, and hospitality in the industries enumerated in the statute. So why are the arts important? Why are they a priority? Here are 4 reasons why. The Illinois creative industries were hit the hardest during the pandemic. We had over 300% of unemployment claims from 300% growth in unemployment claims from January of 2020 to January of 2021. That is twice the rate of all other industries in the state. Ongoing support is needed for our sector. Our arts nonprofits actually will need a runway of 25.5 months to recover from other nonprofits. That means that if you are an arts nonprofit, it's going to take you over 2 years to get back to where you were in 2019, and that's compared to any other nonprofit that provides social services. The 2020 unemployment rate for Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are artists is 66%, and that is higher than their white counterparts, and is actually twice as high than the state average of unemployment for the pandemic. Also, beyond the initial recovery, we know that the arts are an economic powerhouse for long-term growth in communities. We know that all of our arts patrons usually spend an average of $35 per person, and that is above and beyond the cost of admissions to wherever they're going. So that money is going into local businesses, local restaurants, as well as the local economy. I was asked in some of our conversations to think about public safety and community safety and how the arts could contribute to that. It was very tough to find some quantitative data, but there are some really great case studies, and one that I found included 4 cities that use creative placemaking in the arts to address community safety. And these 4 case studies, and there's a link here if you'd like to do that research later, are Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Alameda County, California, Brownsville, a neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, as well as Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And what they found during these case studies is that there are great indicators for success for the arts in contributing to public safety and community safety. Things like violence prevention, things like conflict resolution. You also get great skills like entrepreneurialism, skills building, social emotional learning, connecting justice-involved people to opportunities, and also just changing the perception of a community. I know you all have ridden by these murals and statues as you've gone on your way here to meetings or to your job, and there is not a sense of pride, or there should not be a sense of pride in looking at our public art. We need to do better. We have an opportunity to do better, and it will be a great, 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 great benefit for our community. We have letters of support that came in. We took a couple of days to float this idea past a number of community organizations, local arts and cultural organizations, as well as our school districts. We have heard from all of our public school districts. Our private schools also sit on our commission. We have a number of our community organizations that have written letters of support. And then we also have 2 of our travel, tourism, and hospitality organizations and bureaus and associations that have also given their support for this public art program. At this time, I don't have anything else to offer except for this quote. It's one of my favorites by Degas, and it says, "Art is not what you see, but what you make others see." And I know that sometimes I can be a bit of a visionary and a peculiar person. And it's not about me, it's not about my vision, it's about what this council is able to see and able to facilitate through conversation, through production, through art, and through beauty, to allow the rest of our community and our citizens and constituents to see the beauty that is in our city as well. So with that, I will be done, and if you have any questions, feel free.
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Next on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First is Brian Kapp regarding Council Memo 308-21.
Hi, I am Brian Kopp. I am here regarding the special use permit petition for 13th Floor Entertainment Group. I'm available to answer any questions that you might have on this project. We're really excited about it, and we're really excited to be opening up here in Joliet. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Welcome.
Yes.
Lori McPhillips, Council Memos 304-21 and 305-21.
First, I want to thank everybody for their continued support for Habitat. We're currently building 2 homes in Joliet and working on a 3rd shortly. And I'm here for 2 annexation requests for Magnolia, and which is going to be a veteran build, and then we're another one in Chippewa in Joliet. So if there's any questions, we're here.
Very good. Thank you.
Georgine Williams, Council Memo 307-21.
Georgine Williams, 811 Elizabeth Street, Joliet. I'm here for the people on the 1100 block of Broadway Street to talk about the tire place at the corner, and I'm going to read the petition I brought down here. We, the undersigned, are opposed to the tire place at the corner of Broadway and Hutchins being anything but the selling of tires only. We are opposed to semis pulling in and out of the property at Broadway and Hutchins for the changing of tires or any maintenance to the trucks. This property, if correctly looked at, is too small for that venue. Yes, it is. And if you look at the property, the employees now, the 3 of them, are parking on the curb on Hutchins Street. So you have to envision this. You're gonna have the sidewalk, then you're gonna have the ornamental shrubbery or whatever they're putting in, then you're gonna have the curb. There's one way in and out of that. It's the same way in, the same way out, and it's on Broadway Street. How do these trucks in the winter with all the snow and that turn around without backing into Broadway Street? Plus the noise. At Mr. Sheridan's meeting, Sherry, you heard the noise, you heard the machinery going off. That was one little blurb, okay? How many tires are on a semi? 8 big tires. So this is gonna be a continuous noise. It takes an hour and a half to change the tires. There's a house right next door to this with the kitchen window sitting right there. Would you like that in your kitchen window? Not to mention when they blow these tires up, they make a great big poof sign. We think it's a little bit too much for down there. They're used to being on a state road with a lot of trucks. They have no qualms. We're not carrying signs for trucks down there. We just don't want any more in there, and we don't want them at an end of a residential street doing the work on them. Now, Cunningham Neighborhood Association, which I am a part of, put out a survey that nobody puts a name on. It's all whatever. All the people on my survey are alive and breathing. I didn't use a Ouija board. I didn't collect this. The residents of Broadway Street collected this themselves. I agree with them, but I don't live there, so that doesn't give me a right to tell the people of Broadway what they should have, or you, Mayor, or you, Jan, in your area. The people that live there should be listened to. Cunningham is all anonymous. Because I've asked, I want to see who did, it's anonymous. Well, you must know, oh no, it's anonymous. How do you do a survey that you send out to people and you don't even know who you sent it to? Don't you get email addresses and that? Everything is anonymous. And some of these people live on Fredericks, Rayner, Wilcox, way away from Broadway, because someone called me up and said, why do I have to comment on Broadway Street? You don't. That's not right. The zoning board gives perimeters on what you would call, and the one lady called down there and talked for the people. So you don't need the zoning board if you're gonna have the neighborhood groups doing this. Just get anonymous surveys from them, and you can do away with the zoning board. Please listen to the people on Broadway Street. We're not opposed. He said it's $1 million business. He said that on the tape. Listen to it. We're not opposed to him selling tires down there. We just don't want semis driving, trailer tractors driving in and out, and all the noise that this is going to cause down there, since it's all done outside. So thank you very much. I hope the vote is tomorrow, that you will take into consideration what the people of Broadway Street say, not just Cunningham Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Osterberger, Council Memo 309-21.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The applicant is here, the prospective tenant is here up for the case mentioned by the city clerk. If you have any questions or want us to come up and talk at that time, we're here.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
With all due respect to the, Joe Mazzoni, on behalf of Abraham Garcia and BF Tires, the business that this young lady had spoken about just a few moments ago. We had submitted a package to you, relatively significant. I did back in January when this was first up. And it contained a petition also of the immediate residents right around Martinson's gas station, BF Tire. I have updated that and sent that out again to you, all of you, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And in fact, I updated that again today with just a few odds and ends. You know, I was here for the zoning meeting, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why they voted it unanimously down. Nobody really could articulate a reason. They talk about traffic. Well, the count for traffic on Broadway is 21,000 vehicles a day. And a good lot of those vehicles are semi-tractors with trailers. Anybody who's lived around there, I lived on Cora Street for a while. I'm very familiar with the area and enjoy it. And there's a young man out there who wants to make a life for himself with that property. There was also some issues about noise. I invited all of you to go down in January to look at it. I invited you again a few weeks ago. He has an enclosed compressor, the same compressor that's used to put tires on cars, the tires that pop when you put them on. He has electric impact wrenches to soften and deaden the noise as much as possible. But most importantly, he was given a list of about 20 or 30 items from your planning of things he needed to do, improve. Get rid of the tires, put some grass up, put some fences up, make the place look nice. And as we said in January, as I'll say again maybe tomorrow, he's certainly willing to comply with everything that with the neighborhood, with your staff. He would readily comply with that. The fact that this is a state truck route and a proposed designated truck route from the city right down Broadway, where the truck's gonna go, right down Broadway. Now, there's been claims, and I think a little misinformation. I just want to be clear with you. Mr. Garcia runs BF Tire, and he changes tires now. He does as much work as he can. He's looking to change tires on semi-tractors, not connected to trailers, but simply semi-tractors. And some of those tractors have 6 tires, some of them have 8 tires, and they have tires. He's not going to repair any vehicles. He's not going to perform any maintenance on any vehicles. He's going to use the exact same equipment that he uses to put a tire on a car to put the tire in the truck. Now, based on the number of tires, based upon the work that it takes to do one truck, he figures he can do about 2 to 3 to 4 trucks a day, on a road that has 21,000 vehicles running up and down it every single day. So I have a lot of respect for people's personal lives, but she mentioned the guy whose kitchen window opens up on his gas station. He's one of the guys that said, I've got no problem with it going in. So it's his kitchen window that whatever's happening on that gas station will be, he'll have that happen to him. Mr. Garcia and his wife want to be good neighbors with the city. They want to clean up the corner. They want to do what they're asked of them to do within some measure of reason. If you looked at the document from the Planning Commission and what they asked him to do, he had no complaints. He didn't try to cut it short. He didn't try to say, do you really need this? Do you need it? He just wanted to do it, to do 3 or 4 trucks a day. So I don't appear in front of you guys a lot. And as I age, I'll try to appear less everywhere. But it really kind of boggled my mind. My first experience with you was the Hyatt Hotel and trying to move that through to get it approved. And I couldn't, it was my first taste of what goes on in here. And then I got this gentleman who came to me and asked me for some help. And I thought, well, this is pretty simple. I'll just, we'll get it done and get you to do your tractors, make a little money, and off you go. But it's become such an incensed issue. I mean, again, the people that live right around him, not up and down Broadway, not Rita Zorba, who's a good client of Gabe Arenik, and her phone calls. These people live right there. And anybody who lives on Broadway knows, or probably has a realization, that of those 21,000 vehicles going by, a significant number are rumbling trucks with gravel and dirt and produce and whatever else goes right down through downtown Joliet. Anybody that goes to the courthouse every day sees the truck traffic that's riding down through downtown. Now, until there's some better way to get trucks around the city, you're going to have them. I also noticed that in the last several months, you've approved other tire places on Route 59, one out in well, wherever they're at. You know who you approved. They're creating traffic. Maybe it's not trucks, but a truck is going to have to deliver to them, and it's going to have to pick up things from them, and they're going to have significant traffic, car traffic in and out. And I'm thinking, well, this is one little guy on Broadway Street that wants to bring 3 or 4 semi-tractors in a day. So I don't think he's asking for too much. I think he'll be a good neighbor. He qualified his hours of work. He's done things to quiet his business. He's done quite a bit to try and earn your approval. Now, I'm not sure that this board has the authority to say, we're gonna give you some secret probationary permit to do this stuff. Give him a chance to fail. He might surprise you and succeed. I don't know that these variances can be revoked, but maybe that could be part of the issue here, to make certain that he does what he said he's going to do, and he has thus far. If any of you have visited the area, it looks 10 times better than it did 6 months ago. He purchased it this year, or pardon me, last year. So I'll have those comments for you and ask that you consider, or some of you reconsider your positions and give this guy a chance, because I think he deserves it. He's pretty persistent, and I think the facts and circumstances justify. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
I just want to follow up on what Mr. Mazzoni said. If you look at number 16 and 17, failure to comply with any of the above conditions could result in the rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. Also 17, should the property be declared a public nuisance by the city council, the property could be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of the variation of use. I just want my colleagues to, I hear what the neighbors are saying. I hear what they're saying. I want to give him a chance. That's what I'm asking my colleagues here to do. Give him a chance. If he violates it, we can revoke it. That's all I'm asking.
okay.
Good, thank you.
Good.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Nate Washburn, I'm here for 31021. It's the special use permit for 175 McDonald Avenue. The applicant is here, and we're willing to answer any questions that may arise at that time. And I'm also here on 311-21, the preliminary plat for Mound Road Logistics Park, and I'm here to answer any questions the council might have when that item comes up.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on an agenda item? Seeing none, we'll have the city manager discuss tomorrow night's items.
Thank you. Tomorrow there'll be the committee reports of Economic Development, Finance, Prison and Public Service, and consequently on the consent agenda, the majority of the consent agenda will be discussed at the committee meetings and will be reflected in those committee reports at the council meeting. So moving to licenses and permit applications and public hearings for 303-21, which is a resolution approving an annexation agreement for 3502 Green Meadow Lane. The background is that the property owner requests the city annex his 21,000 square foot property and classify it as R1 single family residential so he can connect his home to the city sewer. The Plan Commission held a public hearing and they agreed that this would be in the best interest of the city, so they agreed with that. So that's the recommendation also of the staff. 304-21, annexation of two parcels located at the northwest corner of Chippewa Street and Iroquois Street. And that's the Will County Habitat for Humanity seeking to annex two small parcels located in the northeast corner of Chippewa Street and Iroquois Street to combine the two and to make small lots that would then allow them to form two buildable lots. The administration concurs with the recommendation, and so did the Planning Commission. They voted to approve that. Next is 305-21, annexation of 0.23 acres located at 800 Magnolia Drive. The same circumstances are as the one I previously mentioned for Habitat for Humanity. And again, the Planning and Zoning approved that, and the staff recommendation is that we go ahead, and they also have no objection to that. Next is 307-21, and those are the people that came up and spoke, Mr. Mazzoni and Councilman Clement, and that's for the approving a small use business permit for light truck, tractor, cab, tire repair and maintenance. The zoning and planning did not approve that, so they have voted it down, and the recommendation of the staff is that they concur with that of the Zoning and Planning Board of Appeals, that the license should not be granted. Moving on to Ordinance 308-21, the ordinance approving a special use permit for a year-round recreational, for a haunted house at at the old prison. Was recommended by the zoning board in as you can see, there's a bunch of attachments here that they have to comply with in order to do that, so that we can maintain control over what that looks like. But the administration concurs with the recommendation and of the zoning board of appeals, which is that they should be granted with those conditions. 309-21, ordinance approving a special use permit for tire repair and sales center located at 3100 Shanahan Road. And that is at the zoning board of appeals, recommended that the city council approve the special use permit to allow tire repairs and sales center located there. The administration concurs with the zoning board of appeals as that's the best use. 310-21, ordinance approving special use permit for a truck terminal. This is a truck approval for special use permit to allow a truck terminal to include repair, wash, and sales. The zoning board of appeals held the matter. There was no one in opposition, and the recommendation was that it be approved. The administration concurs with the zoning board of appeals recommendations as well. 311-21, ordinance approving a preliminary plat of Mound Road Logistics. And this is for basically to put Navstar in. The recommendation of the planning commission is that this be allowed. The administration and staff concur with that as well. Next is the 313-21, a resolution approving intergovernmental agreement. And that's to facilitate the traffic. We had originally agreed to this. This is an IGA, intergovernment agency between us and IDOT. IDOT changed the form from one year to the next, so this is just allowing us to apply under the new form. You had previously approved this, so this is nothing more than almost a housekeeping issue at this point. Again, they just changed the form on us, so we have to resubmit under the new form. 314-21, which is a resolution, again, of an intergovernment agreement, and that's to allow us to a portion of Vetter Road pursuant to IDOT regulation so that we can grab that piece of the road and then convey that to IDOT so that we can build a Hobart Road Bridge. So the staff recommends that we go ahead and approve that. 315-21, a resolution authorizing the execution of a site agreement with Penn. And this, again, is the out at the prison. These folks would like to put in a Frisbee golf course. It is recommended by the staff and the council approve this agreement. 316-21, resolution authorizing the execution of a home investment partnership program consortium agreement. We've done this previously in the past. This is an extension of that agreement. It's another 3 years. It needs to be redone every 3 years and allows us to get grants from various government agencies and Will County home funds. So it's recommended that we go ahead and continue our relationship. Next is 317-21, a resolution accepting a grant from the Illinois Housing. This is, again, some money that we received from the Illinois Housing Authority. And this one is particularly for $125,000. It requires that we sign some paperwork and apply for the funding. So it's again, and it's for abandoned property. So this is a really good program, and the staff recommends that we go ahead and adopt that resolution authorizing it, accepting that grant money. Next is 318-21, a resolution accepting a public easement of Whitendorf Enterprises for Essington and Jefferson. And this is an easement that allows us to put sewer in, so we have to buy that easement so that we can continue to provide services to other citizens. Again, we're trying to clean up some of these easements that we need for the water project going forward. So we recommend that we go ahead and sign that. Again, 319-21, a resolution accepting a public utility easement from Timber Hollow, again, for the same purposes, for sewer and water, so that we can continue to provide services not only to those properties, but to other properties as well. So it's recommended that we approve that. 320-21, a resolution authorizing execution of a dedicated right-of-way from Center Point Joliet to LLC regarding Venner Road. Again, this is part of that larger Hobart Road project. It is recommended that we agree that we authorize that right-of-way. Next is 321-21 is a resolution approving a tax abatement at 3835 Youngs, and that's for the Lion Electric Company that recently announced their relocation here to Joliet. In exchange for part of the inducement for them to come here is that we would abate their property tax for a bit. It's recommended that we do that. The amount of jobs and money that they generate for us is far outweighs the initial tax abatement. So we would hope that you would see fit to grant that. I believe it's really a great project. This is the kinds of things that we need to really have here in Joliet. So I strongly recommend that we approve that. Next is 322-21, resolution approving an amended agreement for purchase of sale of real property with Natural Gas Pipeline of America. And this is out at the Culleton site. They needed to acquire some land over there in order to build some roads. So we agreed to split the cost with them to be able to do that, to move that project forward. And with that concludes the agenda. Yes, sir.
Yes, quick question, Jim.
Sure. Yes, Councilman.
308-21 and 315-21, they're kind of tied at the hip. That's on the old Joliet prison property.
Yes,
And
sir.
These two entities understand there's been no formal action by this council to permanently take. I believe the lease expires
That's correct. The lease
August of next year.
That's correct.
And
Yes, sir.
the state could see its way fit, like so many people have done with the COVID 15-month shutdown, of simply extending it 15 months, since 15 months was lost. But they do realize there's no guarantee that we're gonna take complete and total ownership, and whether or not the state will extend.
I will make sure that they completely understand that, Councilman.
Next is public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak under public comments this evening? Seeing none, there is a request for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance, pending or threatened litigation, discussion of minutes of closed session meetings, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement,
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin,
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero, Councilman Hug,
Aye?
Councilman Morris,
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried.